Abandoned innocently, she reemerges to discover his incredible transformation. 10 years later, Emma gripped the steering wheel tightly, the weight of a decade pressing down as she drove towards her hometown. Memories flooded back, images of laughing children racing down the streets, the sun painting everything in a warm glow. Now, as she drove past new developments and trendy coffee shops, nostalgia washed over her like a bittersweet tide. Would anyone still remember her? Her heart raced. She had left under tragic circumstances, fleeing an unfinished story with Jake, her childhood friend and once confidant. 1,000 what-ifs chased her. What if she had stayed? What if they had never parted ways? The thought sent a shiver down her spine as she parked on Main Street. She saw him, Jake, standing outside the community center. He radiated a new energy that felt foreign yet familiar. Scars marked his arms, yet his smile held warmth like the sun breaking through clouds. Emma's breath caught. He was a local hero now, leading initiatives to uplift their struggling community. A man committed to change, yet still the boy she had known. She felt the magnetism pulling her towards him, and fear surged alongside longing. People waved to him, admiration in their eyes. A sensation stirred in Emma's chest. Those were her friends, her community, and she felt like a ghost. How would they react to her return? Would they judge her for abandoning everything they fought to uphold? Emma? Jake's voice broke through her turmoil. His gaze had caught hers, and for a moment time stood still. In his eyes was a mix of shock and something deeper, something she yearned to understand. I can't believe it's you. Everything fell apart in that instant. All the unspoken words, the bitterness, the memories. Emma stammered, feeling the weight of years of silence crashing down. Where have you been? The question hung heavy between them, a jagged edge cutting through the air. Their history breathed life into the moment, each of them echoing the past with unfulfilled dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. I didn't know how to come back, Emma finally admitted, feeling the warmth of his presence wash over her. The vulnerability cracked her heart open, and they found common ground in their shared struggles. He stepped closer. This town needed you, Emma. We could use your skills. The youth need mentors. We have so much work to do. A flicker of hope ignited within her. The thought of uniting their forces sparked feelings long buried. Jake's eyes softened, the compassion shimmering as they confronted the shadows of their past. There was pain still, raw and unhealed, but perhaps beneath it lay a path toward reconciliation. Yet, just as those embers of connection sparked back to life, a haunting truth loomed over Emma's heart, a revelation so deep it could threaten everything they hoped to rebuild. Would it bind them or tear them apart once again? As she grappled with the ghosts of her past, she sensed the fresh blooms of possibility. Would they uncover a path forward? Emma's heart raced, the world around her fading into the background. All she could focus on was Jake, and the way he stood there, embodying everything she had left behind. Memories surged, laughter, secrets shared under stars, moments etched in time that felt like a lifetime ago. Emma? He said again, voice gentle yet firm, as if he were reaching through a thick fog that hung between them. What happened? His question echoed in her mind, each word striking like a pebble dropped into still water, rippling outward and threatening to drown her. She searched for a response but found herself lost in his eyes. They held questions she wasn't sure she could answer. I was scared, she finally managed, the truth spilling out before she had time to hide it. I didn't know how to face everything. Leaving felt like the only option. Jake let out a slow breath, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. Scared? Emma, this town needed you. I needed you. The honesty in his tone cracked open something deep inside her. The unspoken bond intertwined with their shared history felt alive again. Yet the fear of what else could be revealed loomed overhead. Still, you built something incredible here, she whispered, nodding toward the community center, now buzzing with activity. I see how they admire you. It wasn't easy, Jake replied, a hint of vulnerability cracking through his bravado. But I did what I could. We all did. There was a fire in his eyes, a fierce determination to bring about change. I wish you would have been a part of it, he added softly, almost as if expecting her to disappear again. The silence stretched between them, heavy and fraught with the weight of the years apart. Emma glanced around, the townsfolk lingering nearby, their curiosity palpable. Some recognized her, while others whispered behind hands, pointing at the girl they thought was lost. Look, I know I can't just walk back in like I never left. I can't pretend that I was never gone, she said finally, shaking her head, the words forming in a tangled mess in her throat. But I want to help. I want to be here for the kids, for you. At that moment, she realized that her intentions were more than just patches to mend old wounds. She wanted to rebuild, to grow alongside the lives she had once walked away from. The thought excited her, tinged with fear but intertwined with an undeniable thrill of possibility. Then let us do it, he replied, his smile brightening as he showed the familiar spark she had missed. We can start tomorrow. I'll introduce you to the community initiatives. Together we can make a difference. Emma couldn't help but laugh, the sound breaking through her trepidation. Tomorrow, huh? Are you sure you're ready for that? I might put you to work. Bring it on, he grinned, the electric energy between them growing brighter, nearly palpable. But just as hope intermingled with excitement, an alarming thought clouded her mind. The revelation resting on her heart felt closer, like a storm brewing just beyond the horizon. Was she truly ready to reveal all of her scars? As they stood there, a hint of a challenge gleaming in Jake's eyes, Emma realized that with every step towards rebuilding their story, the truth would eventually come out. Would he still look at her with admiration when he learned the whole picture? That question lingered as they turned to walk together, the tension weaving a new story around them, reminding her that despite the warmth of reconnection, shadows still danced just beneath the surface. What if the truth pulled everything apart again? Emma took a breath, feeling the mixture of excitement and dread swirl inside her. She and Jake walked side by side, his presence both comforting and unnerving. As they made their way through the bustling crowd at the community center, she noticed faces turned toward her, some curious, some surprised, and a few sympathetic. Each glance felt like a spotlight, drawing her deeper into the reality of her return. What's the plan for tomorrow? She asked, trying to coax both her nerves and the conversation out of the heaviness that hung between them. Jake glanced sideways at her, eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. We're organizing an after-school program for the kids. It's all about helping them with their homework and providing activities that keep them engaged. I thought you'd be perfect for it, he said, a grin forming on his lips. Emma felt a rush of warmth at the compliment, but doubt tinged that warmth. You really think I can do this? She asked. It felt like a leap, and she wasn't sure she could fly. Absolutely. You've always had a way with kids. They love you, he assured her, his confidence solid and unwavering. Their conversation drifted deeper into planning, but each laugh and shared idea felt like a silent countdown to the moment when she would have to confront her past. As they reached the entrance of the community center, Emma paused, taking in the colorful murals painted on the walls and the laughter that spilled from inside. It was a place of hope, and yet she felt like a ghost trying to find her way back to life. I should probably see if Jesse is around, Jake said, breaking into a jog toward the entrance. Emma hesitated, watching him move with the ease of someone deeply rooted in a community that had flourished in her absence. The pride radiating from him was contagious, but it also stung. In the sanctuary of that moment, she allowed herself to explore the echoes of why she left. Was it truly fear, or deeper currents that twisted in her heart? The weight of her secrets felt heavier than ever, pressing on her chest, almost like a warning. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out from behind her. Emma, is that really you? Amy, her childhood friend, stepped into view, eyes wide with disbelief. Emma's heart swelled. They hadn't spoken in years. Emma's face broke into a smile, but her stomach twisted. What would Amy think of her long absence? Hey Amy, Emma called back, her excitement genuine, though laced with apprehension. Wow, you're back. We all wondered what happened to you. Amy stepped closer, her expression a mix of happiness and curiosity. Emma felt her cheeks flush. The question hanged unspoken in the air, and she found herself wrestling with the urge to shrink away from it. Yeah, I didn't expect to be here either, she said, attempting to keep her tone light. I want to help out more, get involved again. Amy's smile faded slightly. This place has changed so much. You would have loved to see it grow, especially with Jake's really taken charge. Emma's heart sank a little at Amy's words. I've missed so much, she admitted, her voice almost a whisper. Don't you worry. It's never too late, Amy reassured her. But Emma could hear the unasked questions lingering just beneath the surface, echoing in her mind. Would they embrace her despite her absence? And what about the secret she held back? One that had the power to change everything. As the day unfolded, laughter and chatter surrounded her, but Emma felt an invisible wall between her and the warmth of this community. The time she had lost felt like a chasm. How could she make them see she was ready to cross it? Just then Jake emerged from the center, excitement in his eyes. Emma, you have to hear what we're planning for the summer camp. It's going to be extraordinary. She forced a smile, but the cloud of uncertainty loomed again. Could she truly step into this life without her truth coming to light? Emma took a breath, steeling herself for whatever lay ahead. Tomorrow would have to wait. Let us talk about it, she said, her voice trembling with a mix of hope and fear. But as she looked at Jake, she knew the storm inside her was drawing closer, and no amount of planning could keep it at bay. What truths would the summer camp reveal? Would she have the strength to face them? Emma's heart raced as she caught glimpses of laughter and joy from the community center. For all her excitement, the doubt loomed larger in her mind. Each friendly smile from someone she didn't recognize felt like a reminder of her absence. She turned, watching the animated conversations happening around her. It all felt foreign yet achingly familiar. Emma! Jake's voice pulled her back. He was waving her over, his enthusiasm like a beacon, urging her to step into the light. Come on, you have to hear this. Taking a deep breath, she approached him, feeling a mix of anxiety and anticipation coil tightly in her stomach. Jake stood beside Jessie, the center's head coordinator, who was pointing at a colorful chart filled with ideas for summer activities. We want to create a safe space for these kids, somewhere they can grow. You'll help us get it off the ground, right? He said, his confidence spilling into Emma like a rush of warm sunlight. Could she really do it? The voices in her head screamed uncertainty while her heart echoed Jake's assurance. Of course, she managed to say, her voice stronger than she felt. The hope in Jake's eyes made her want to believe. Jessie clapped her hands. Fantastic. We've got so many ideas. Team building games, arts and crafts, maybe even a little outdoor adventure. Every kid deserves a chance to dream. And with you on board, we can inspire them. Emma's heart melted at the thought. Maybe she could contribute something good to this place. Maybe she could help these kids reclaim the joy she once felt. Yet, the specter of her secret loomed ominously behind her as planning continued, and the joyous chatter hung heavy in the air. Emma felt the warmth of camaraderie begin to thaw out the icy grip of her insecurities. Laughter erupted from a group of children nearby, breaking through her thoughts. She turned just in time to see a group of little ones racing each other, faces flushed with delight. Why do they look so familiar? She mused aloud, half to herself. That's all of them. The new kids. They've all heard stories about you, Amy said, appearing at Emma's side. Her smile pushed away the last of Emma's lingering doubts. You were like a legend around here, you know? The girl who left to chase dreams but never forgot where she came from. Emma smiled, feeling warmth in her chest, yet shadows danced behind her eyes. What if they find out I was just running scared? You're here now, and that matters, Amy replied softly, her gaze steady. You have a chance to rewrite the story. Their conversation was interrupted as Jake called for everyone's attention. Okay, team. We're planning to paint a mural together tomorrow to celebrate this community and its future. I want you all to bring your ideas. Emma's pulse quickened again. A mural. A symbolic act of creativity and togetherness. But as the weight of her fears clashed with the moment's energy, Emma felt a swirl of anxiety return. What if the mural turned into a metaphor for the walls she had built? Could she face herself while painting her truth in bright colors for everyone to see? Later, she hung back as people began to disperse, her heart racing. Jake caught her eye again, a knowing look passing between them. You all right? He asked quietly. Yeah, she replied, but the unease bubbled beneath her facade. Just thinking. About the mural? He probed further, walking a step closer. More like about everything, Emma confessed, her voice barely more than a whisper. What if I can't keep up? What if my past catches up with me? His face softened with understanding. Whatever it is, we'll tackle it together. Just remember you're not alone anymore. As they stood there, the fading sunlight painted long shadows behind them. A soft breeze brushed past, whispering promises of change. With tomorrow bringing the chance to create something beautiful, Emma took a deep breath. Could she face her fears and find redemption in those splashes of paint? And as she glanced back towards the entrance, the world around her fell quiet, anticipation brimming like the sky before a storm. What was she truly willing to risk in the name of hope? As the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma realized she stood on the precipice of something bigger than herself. Would she find the courage to reveal the truth behind her departure? The next morning felt different. The sun spilled into Emma's room, igniting a fire of determination within her. She hadn't felt this way in a long time, less like someone hiding from her past, and more like someone ready to embrace a future. Her heart buzzed with both excitement and worry. As if her emotions were playing a fast-paced game of tag, she arrived at the community center. The air buzzed with energy. Children darted around like colorful kites, full of life and laughter. Emma couldn't help but feel her spirit lift with each smile exchanged. This was a place where dreams could ignite, and somehow she was a part of that spark. "Hey Emma," Jake called, waving her over with an infectious grin. Standing beside him, Jesse had gathered a group of volunteers. They were brainstorming ideas for the mural, and the anticipation was electric. "All right, everyone," Jesse began, her voice radiating enthusiasm. "This mural will represent our community's heart. We want it to reflect our unity and the dreams of our kids. I'm looking for everyone's creativity to shine." Emma's hesitations began to fade as they tossed around ideas. Birds, trees, suns, each suggestion painted a more vibrant picture of what the mural could be. But Emma felt a tinge of fear creeping back. What would she contribute? She could feel the weight of her past, pressing heavy on her heart. "Let us add something that speaks to our journey," Jake suggested, noticing Emma's silence. "Maybe a winding path that leads through vibrant landscapes, symbolizing how we all grow together." "Yeah," chimed in another volunteer. "And we could have kids with different dreams, one painting a rocket, another with a book. Show how they can reach for those dreams." Emma's chest tightened. It was beautiful, but did she belong in this vision? She wished she could muster the courage to share her thoughts, but memories of her own uncertainties danced through her mind like dark clouds. Yet as she looked around, the excitement of the kids poured into her, seeping into her veins. Emma started hesitantly, her voice shaking slightly. "I think we should have a figure reaching out, representing hope. But the hands can extend outwards so it becomes a part of all the dreams we create together." Everyone turned to her, their expressions shifting to understanding. Jake's eyes twinkled with a proud light. "Perfect. That can be the focal point. It captures how we uplift one another, and how we're all connected." Emma's heart swelled. There it was, a glimpse of her place in this, a chance to share something real. As the painting began, the rhythm of brushes against the canvas set the tone. With each stroke, Emma felt lighter, like she was shedding a layer she didn't need anymore. She watched the colors flow, feeling the presence of the community around her. Laughter and chatter enveloped her, driving away the shadows that had haunted her for so long. And yet, as she extended her hand to join in, a voice echoed in the back of her mind. What if they saw her? What if they discovered her past? What if she couldn't live up to the image they now had of her? Just then, a little girl approached, her bright eyes wide with curiosity. "Are you gonna be here forever, Emma? You're like a superhero." The child's innocence hit Emma like a wave. "Forever? I don't know about that, but I hope I can be here for a long time." The truth felt like a promise, one she was ready to keep. As the mural came to life, Emma found herself enveloped in a blend of hope and vulnerability. Every stroke was a testament to not just the community's dreams but also her own. Then the door swung open, and in walked someone she had never expected to see again, Andrew, an old friend she thought was lost to her past. The air shifted as he scanned the room, his eyes landing on Emma. All at once, everything she had thought she had left behind rushed back. She felt raw, exposed, uncertain. Did he recognize her? Would he see the fear behind the newly painted colors? As her heart raced faster than before, Andrew took a step forward, his gaze locking onto hers. Emma, is that really you? In that moment, the mural, the hope, and the past collided into one swirling storm. Emma stood on the brink of a choice: embrace the chaos of her history or deny its hold over her. Would she have the strength to step into this moment, to confront everything she had tried to escape? Emma felt a knot tighten in her stomach as Andrew's voice echoed in her ears. There was so much unresolved between them, memories wrapped in layers of hurt, laughter, and the kind of friendship that had once meant the world to her. She hadn't prepared for this. Not now, when she was rediscovering herself amidst the bright colors of the mural. Andrew, she whispered, as if speaking his name would shatter the moment and send him back to where he'd come from. Her breath caught in her throat, stealing her words, mixing desperation with longing. The room seemed to fade into the background, children's laughter and brushstrokes on canvas lost in the blur. Andrew took a step closer, the midday sunlight slicing through the window, illuminating his familiar features. He looked older, more grounded, but those trademark eyes were still the same, holding a mix of surprise and a hint of something deeper. Can it really be you? He said, his voice filled with disbelief. I thought it's been so long. Yeah, it has, Emma interrupted, her voice trembling. She stepped back, holding her paint-stained hands in front of her like shields. Why are you here? Andrew seemed taken aback, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. It was as if a previous chapter of their lives had suddenly slipped back and unfolded in front of them, one filled with carefree days and unspoken dreams. I've come back to help, he finally said, breaking the silence. I heard about the mural project and wanted to lend a hand. I didn't expect to see you. A sense of relief flooded through Emma, but it was quickly overshadowed by the fear that pushed at the edges of her heart. Well, I hope you're ready for chaos, she replied, trying to mask her emotions with a smile. These kids are all over the place. Her attempt at humor fell flat as Andrew took another step closer, closing the distance she had unconsciously tried to maintain. Emma, he said softly, you look different. In a good way. Like you've changed. His words wrapped around her, igniting a warmth she hadn't anticipated. Could he see the new her? Could he feel the same hope she had started to embrace? Yeah, I'm trying, she mumbled, looking down at her feet. It's been a journey since everything went south? He finished for her, his voice a low murmur. You don't have to say it. We both know the story. But you're not alone in this anymore. Emma hesitated, her breath lodged somewhere between her heart and her throat. She wanted to reach out for that thread of connection. But how could she when the dark shadows of her past flickered behind her? What made Andrew think she had changed at all? A child suddenly burst into the room, a canvas smeared with paint in hand. Look, Emma. Look what I did. The girl's joy sliced through the heavy air. And without realizing it, Emma smiled. Wow, that's amazing. Emma knelt beside her, momentarily losing herself in the child's exuberance. The innocence of it all reminded her why she was here. To create hope, to inspire. As Emma turned her attention back to Andrew, he watched her with an expression that was a blend of admiration and concern. You're really good with them, he said, his voice catching the attention of those nearby. It feels right, she replied, forcing confidence into her tone. I want to help. I want to be a part of this community. Then let us do it together, Andrew said, his smile softening the weight of their shared past. We can show them that it's completely okay to dream, to reach for more. A spark ignited within Emma at his suggestion. Could they really work together again? But the fear returned, hovering just out of sight. What if their working together opened old wounds? What if being around him kept her from moving forward? Before she could answer, Jessie called out, We're about to start a group painting session. Everybody grab a section. The atmosphere shifted, the call to action breaking the tension that had settled between Emma and Andrew. As Emma moved towards the canvas, she felt Andrew at her side, matching her step for step. It was a small comfort, but it stirred something inside her she couldn't quite grasp. Could this be a beginning? A way for her to reconnect with her story, her courage, her dreams? The smell of paint mingled with laughter as the children hopped into action, each of them ready to express their hopes on the canvas before them. Emma looked at Andrew, who seemed just as absorbed in the moment, and she couldn't help but wonder. Could she trust him again? Would they find their way back to each other in this vibrant tapestry of color and community? Yet, As she placed color to canvas, doubts flickered in her mind. When had life ever gone the way she hoped? The echoes of their past raced through her thoughts, wrapping her in uncertainty. She might be ready to embrace a future now. But would that future survive the weight of all they had lost? As the brush swept slowly across the mural, it felt like she was painting not just for the community but for herself. With every stroke, the question lingered. Would she take the leap into this new chapter? Or would fear push her back into the shadows again? The canvas glowed with potential, and as her heartbeat quickened, so did her resolve. But the uncertainty remained. Andrew's presence was a reminder of the past. As they painted side by side, Emma wondered one last thing. Would their shared history become a bridge toward healing or a barrier that kept her from seeing the light? The atmosphere buzzed around Emma as the kids began splattering colors with reckless abandon. Laughter mingled with shouts of excitement, creating a tapestry of sound just as vibrant as the mural they were painting. Her heart twisted, caught between the exhilaration of the moment and the fear that lingered like a shadow beside her. Andrew stood close, his presence both a comfort and a reminder of everything that had happened. "Look at that one," he exclaimed, pointing at a child who had created a chaotic whirl of blue and green. "That's pure genius." His laughter was free and infectious, stirring something inside her that had long been dormant. Emma glanced at him, surprised by how different he seemed. There was a maturity in his smile, a sparkle in his eyes that kicked up memories of sunlit afternoons spent dreaming together. But mixed in with the joy was a familiar suspicion that tugged at her heart. "Yeah, they really are talented," she replied, trying to keep the mood light while pushing her own thoughts aside. Yet as they painted, Andrew shifted closer to her. "It's great to see you happy like this," he said a little too casually. Emma felt her heart race, a mix of warmth and apprehension washing over her. She forced herself to keep her focus on the canvas, though her mind was racing with questions. Was it really happiness she felt? Or was it a brief escape from the chaos in her heart? "Remember when we used to spend all summer painting our own walls?" he asked, laughter threading through his words. "Or did we just dream about it?" "I think it was mostly dreaming," Emma admitted, a grin breaking through her nerves. "But those dreams felt real back then. Maybe they still can be." There was a challenge in his eyes, a flicker of the old Andrew who would push her to step beyond her limits. It sent a shiver through her. "Don't you think things are different now?" Emma replied, brushing her paintbrush against the canvas with more force than she intended. "We've both changed, and some things can't just be painted over." He hesitated, his expression shifting to something more serious. "I get that, but change isn't all bad. It's a chance for something new. Don't you want that?" She didn't respond. The question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of their past. While she understood the sentiment behind his words, doubt began to creep back in. There were old wounds that hadn't healed, scars she was still trying to accept. The last thing she wanted was to pick at them, to open doors that had been padlocked for years. Just then Jessie dashed over, her paint-covered hands eagerly gesturing at the mural. "Emma! Andrew! Look! We want to make that big sun right there. Can you help us?" It was a way to shift the focus, and Emma welcomed it. She saw the fire in the kid's eyes, and for a brief moment, she pushed her tumultuous thoughts aside, allowing the sheer joy around her to wash over her. "Of course," she replied, her voice brightening, re-energized. They all gathered around, and for a while the world outside faded into a blur of colors and laughter. Yet, in those fleeting moments of joy, the question still echoed in her mind. If they both wanted to rebuild, could they truly bridge the gap between their past and the hope of a shared future? As they painted the vivid sun, bursts of yellow and orange splattered around. Emma felt both the warmth of the colors and the heartbeat of uncertainty thumping beneath it all. Would stepping forward mean letting go of her past? Could she embrace this chance for renewal, even if it involved Andrew? The mural began to take life, but deeper questions lingered in the shadows of her heart. Could they truly create something beautiful together despite the cracks in their foundation? As dusk began to settle, and the sunlight waned, whispers of doubt loomed larger than the vibrant colors they had splashed across the canvas. Would the next step bring light or lead them into the dark again? The last stroke on the canvas lingered as they stood back to admire their work. It was a moment to breathe, but Emma felt a tension building. Within her, the truth of what lay ahead still uncertain. Could their past become a stepping stone into a new future? Or would old fears keep them painting in circles? As she looked at Andrew, she saw uncertainty reflected back at her, and breathed in the reality. They were far from done. What would it take for them to confront the ghosts that lingered between them? Emma felt herself teetering on the edge of that answer. The laughter of the children swelled around Emma, but inside, she felt like she was fighting a torrent. The colors on the canvas symbolized a chance for healing, yet the vivid strokes also reminded her of the unresolved feelings she had locked away for far too long. Andrew stood beside her, his brow furrowed as he gazed at the mural. It was beautiful, sure, but it didn't make the knot in her stomach fade. "Look at that," Andrew said, rushing forward to admire the sun they had painted. His enthusiasm was genuine, infectious. But Emma felt detached, a spectator in a world bursting with life while she grappled with her own storms. "Yeah, it's bright," she murmured, almost hesitantly. She couldn't shake the nagging thought that this mural, vibrant and alive, contrasted starkly with the darkness she felt brewing inside. "Simon, let us celebrate," Jessie squealed, pulling Emma back into the moment. "We should take a picture with our art." Her innocence shattered some of Emma's walls. "Great idea." Andrew's voice rang out, and the thought of capturing that moment made Emma's heart flutter. Perhaps she could just enjoy this, even if it was just a fleeting moment. They gathered the kids closer under the sun's painted rays. Emma's heart swelled for them, their joy pouring over like bright paint. As Andrew wrapped an arm around her shoulders, Emma fought back a rush of emotion. This was in the past, their laughter, the simple joy of being together without the weight of unanswered questions. Jessie held up her phone, snapping a few pictures. "Say sunshine," she called out, and everyone smiled widely. The moment felt perfect, as if magic reigned. But as Emma stood there with Andrew's arm around her, the low hum of reality began to creep back in. After the picture, the kids dispersed in a flurry of giggles to chase each other, leaving Emma and Andrew alone, standing beside the mural. She glanced at Andrew, his face bright under the fading sunlight. In that moment she saw not just the man she once knew, but someone who had changed, who had fought their own battles. "You really have grown," she said softly, almost surprised to hear the sincerity in her voice. He met her gaze and smiled, a kind of vulnerability in his expression. "And you too, Emma. It's like we've both been on this long journey. Maybe it's time we start a new chapter together?" The air shifted. The weight of old wounds threatened to drown her as memories flooded back, the good, the bad, and everything in between. With every heartbeat, Emma could feel her walls trembling. "What do you mean by that?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tremor of fear beneath. Andrew took a deep breath, a glimmer of hope dancing in his eyes. I want us to try. We've both been through so much. Maybe it's time we face it together." Every word felt heavy, yet there was this warmth spreading within her, like when the sun first breaks the horizon. She wanted to smile, to laugh. But the past loomed large, a reminder that healing was rarely straightforward. "It's not just about us anymore," Emma finally said, a lump forming in her throat. "What if we can't?" "Then we keep trying," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "I believe we can write a better story together. But we have to be brave enough to face it." As they stood there, surrounded by bursts of color and the laughter of children, Emma was torn. Hope shimmered before her, but the shadows of doubt loomed large. "Can we really create something new from the old?" she whispered to herself, a flicker of courage igniting within her. Suddenly Jessie returned, pulling Emma's attention. "Can we paint some stars too? I want the sky to shine." Emma's heart stuttered. The innocence in Jessie's request a stark contrast to her chaotic thoughts. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of something brighter. But as Jessie led her back toward the mural, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the harder question still lay ahead. Could they truly build a future without letting the past control them? The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows on the ground, reflecting the uncertainty they still faced. Emma took a deep breath, hoping that stepping forward wouldn't mean stepping back. What lay ahead could be just as colorful, or shatter everything once more. The paintbrush felt foreign in Emma's hand as she dipped it into a bright blue hue. The coolness of the color surprised her, but she welcomed the sensation. As she began to stroke the canvas with carefree swirls, she caught Andrew's reflection in the corner of her eye. He was watching her intently, an expression of admiration etched on his features. "See, you remember how to let go," he said softly, encouraging her with a smile. The childlike glee Jessie radiated as they painted stars sent a warm rush through Emma. She glanced down at the denim bib she wore, splattered with paint like a badge of honor. The mural was becoming richer, layer by layer. But with each stroke, Emma felt the weight of her inner turmoil clashing against the joy blossoming outside. "Do you think stars can really shine?" Jessie asked, her voice brimming with innocent curiosity. "Absolutely," Emma replied, her voice steadier than her heart. "Stars shine brightest in the dark." Jessie's gaze flickered with wonder. "Just like us, right?" Emma swallowed hard, the depth of Jessie's insight striking her like a lightning bolt. "Just like us," she echoed, but her mind was entangled in deeper questions. Did she truly believe that? Could she and Andrew shine through their darkness? Andrew broke her reverie, leaning closer to the mural, adjusting a few strokes with deftness. "What if we painted a comet?" he suggested, eyes sparkling with creativity. "Something that represents movement, change." "Change?" Emma repeated, the weight of the word hanging in the air. "Can we really embrace change after everything?" He turned to her, the earnestness in his gaze making her heart flutter. "If we don't, we'll stay in the dark, won't we? We're allowed to seek the light." Their eyes locked, and in that moment, Emma felt a tether between them strengthen. But her other thoughts encroached like shadows. Could she actually let herself be happy again? Would this blossoming connection stand against the strong winds of their past? As they chatted about the comet and painted bright trails behind it, laughter bubbled up, shared memories slipping through the cracks of their armor. Emma felt more relaxed. Laughter felt good, but she hesitated. What if the laughter faded, replaced by doubts and fears? Jessie, bundle of energy, suddenly piped up. "Can I add a rainbow to our mural? To show that everything can be beautiful together?" Emma's breath caught. The rainbow symbols of hope, healing, and promise. "Yes," she whispered, a soft sense of courage blossoming within her. They could create something beautiful, something that spoke of all the experiences they had survived. As they painted, Jessie ran back and forth, mixing colors with infectious enthusiasm. For a moment, Emma forgot her worries, lost in the rhythm of creativity and joy. There was magic in Jessie's childlike spirit, a realization that they could build something meaningful despite their scars. But just as easily as her hope soared, doubts crept back in. Emma turned to Andrew, who was merely a few feet away. He seemed so at ease, so changed. "What if the shadow were trying to escape from isn't behind us, but still lies ahead?" she whispered, dread weaving its way into her heart. "Then we face it together," he said firmly, and there was a comfort in his reassurance. But Emma couldn't help wondering if it would be enough to protect them. Suddenly, she became aware of the growing shadows around them as the sun continued its descent. Time was passing, and with it, the fleeting moments that held her so tightly in their grip. The laughter of children intensified, but the laughter had a bittersweet edge to it, just like her thoughts. She looked back at Jessie painting intermittently between bursts of joy, her heart heavy with conflicting emotions. This was a moment filled with promise, yet tinged with what-ifs. Can we really paint a future that shines? Emma felt compelled to ask, a question hanging on the edge of her breath, her heart racing. Andrew stepped closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "We can, if we approach it with the same courage we showed in painting this mural." With that, an edge of determination formed in her heart. But as she stood there, paintbrush in hand, her doubts roared louder than the laughter around her. What if the canvas they were creating couldn't hold the burden of their past? Emma could feel the final question blooming in her mind like an approaching storm. What if the real challenge was patiently uncovering the truth hidden within themselves before they could step into the light? As the sun dipped fully below the horizon, Emma took a breath filled with uncertainty and resolve. With each stroke of the brush, she was not just painting a mural. She was painting a new beginning. But could she face the truth waiting in the shadows behind her? The next day, the sun rose brighter than Emma had anticipated. It spilled golden rays across the community center, filling the space with an unshakable optimism. As Emma stepped inside, she felt a flutter of hope bouncing inside her chest. Today was the day they would finish the mural, and the atmosphere buzzed with excitement from kids and adults alike. Jake stepped up to her, his smile infectious. Ready to make magic happen? He asked, eyes sparking with determination. Emma nodded, feeling the energy course through her. There was something about this place, about this moment, that set her heart racing in a way that felt different from before. As they gathered around the mural, the latest additions, a radiant rainbow and a shooting comet, sparkled with potential. Jessie, the little girl who had insisted on the rainbow, twirled with joy, her laughter radiating warmth throughout the room. Let us add bright flowers at the bottom, she suggested, her eyes wide with enthusiasm. Emma watched her, overwhelmed by the innocence of hope. Yes, flowers symbolize growth and new beginnings, she agreed, excitement bubbling within her. While they painted, Emma felt her worries dissolve like paint blended into a vivid splash on the canvas. Under Jake's steady leadership and Jessie's unwavering brightness, the community emerged as a tight-knit family. Each stroke of color, each laugh exchanged, seemed to push the shadows of the past further away. As the hours passed, Emma caught glimpses of Andrew across the way, his focus intent on his section of the mural. Memories flooded back. Lines of unfinished conversations lingered on the tip of her tongue. What had once torn them apart now seemed like a bridge to deeper understanding. When the mural reached its final strokes, a hush fell over the room. They all stepped back, taking in their creation a vibrant tapestry of dreams, hope, and resilience. Emma felt tears prick her eyes, a mix of joy and relief crashing over her. Moments like this remind us we belong, Jake said softly, breaking the spell. They all nodded, but Emma couldn't shake the weight resting on her heart. Andrew? She called out tentatively. She was surprised to find him standing beside her, a soft smile on his lips. Can we talk? He hesitated but nodded, and they stepped away from the buzzing excitement, into a quieter corner of the community center. Emma's heart raced, a mix of anticipation and fear. I think it's time we address everything, she said finally, feeling vulnerability wash over her. Andrew's expression shifted, understanding flickering across his features. You're right. We've danced around it for too long, he admitted, his voice low. Where do we start? Emma took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. Let us be honest, he suggested, looking straight into her eyes. I've carried a lot of hurt since you left. I thought we had a future, but you disappeared and I wanted to know why. I ran, she confessed, the words tumbling out. I was scared of everything, scared of staying, and not knowing how to face the truth about our dreams together. I felt like I'd let you down in the community. Andrew processed her words, his brow furrowing. I felt abandoned, he admitted slowly. But I found my footing. I rebuilt, but it's been hard doing it without you. I missed you every day. Emma's heart ached at the honesty in his voice. I hoped you'd forgive me, she said, tears pooling in her eyes. I wanted so badly to come back, but fear kept me from facing you. Fear has no place here, Andrew replied gently. We can't change the past, Emma. But we can choose what to do moving forward. A moment of silence hung between them, filled with the weight of shared grief and budding hope. I want that too, Emma whispered, a sense of resolution settling within her. I don't want to run anymore. We can build something beautiful together now for all those we left behind. Andrew stepped closer, his eyes flickering with warmth. Then let us do it. Together. And at that moment, Emma knew they were stepping into a better story, one filled with laughter, understanding, and the beauty of making mistakes along the way. As they rejoined their friends, laughter erupted, surrounding them in the joy of creation. The mural stood as a testament to resilience and rebirth, and each added color was not just paint but a promise to seek the light, to face fears together, and to build bridges where countless shadows once lurked. This was the dawn of new beginnings, where each day held the potential for bright tomorrows. Emma's heart swelled as she looked at the mural one last time. This was what life would be, a canvas of vibrant experiences, each waiting to be painted with the joys and scars of their past. United, they would reclaim their story, and the future glimmered with boundless possibilities. So they embraced the moment, hand in hand, ready to write the next chapter of their lives together, side by side. And you want to be part of this journey? Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment below and share your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of being part of this journey.